tripled our last 4 months, our 4 months of 2022 and 4 months of 2023. We tripled the revenue.
Okay, great. So kind of tell me an introduction. Who are you? What's your business?
Don Titus, I own the Booster Banner store. Been doing it going on 14 years now, and just a mom and pop that's grown into a little larger than a mom and pop. Needed to try and expand it a little more, so I decided to take my first leap into marketing, and that's when I called you.
Okay, great. So what did your business do last year? What did that look like before we started working together?
Well, last year was kind of a strange, actually the last 4 years have been pretty strange for everybody. I had actually, back in 2016, I had decided to let the business just kind of peter out. I was working 3 jobs, and I didn't really, I was not interested. I was kind of burned out. So I just kind of let it die, and it died. And I guessed it'd be about 4 to 8% a year, and it did for 2017, 18, 19, and then 2020 hit, and that was when the all the schools were closed, and that's our main customer. So we took about a 50% hit down. So we were down at about a third of what our peak was back in 2016 when I decided to rebuild the business, and I started that process in the middle of the summer. So about July of 2020. Hired a new web guy to build a new website, launched that in January of 21. And so 2020 was about a third of our peak. We did $500,000 in sales, a little more than $500,000 in sales in 2016. We were down in the 150s or so in 2020. 2021, after the launch of the website, got back up to about 400. So we really jumped back up to, and that was a lot of that because the schools were coming back to business. And then really what I'm comparing here is 2022, we about made it back to our original peak in 2016. And then we started I think we launched. So I had you do the cleaning of the website or SEO audit and clean up there, which I was advised by many people against, and I'll tell you what I think about that. And then we launched, I think, the ad campaign on January 24th. So what I know is first to the cleanup thing. Everybody said, "Oh, put your money in ads. Don't worry about SEO." Having a computer background, not to that extent, but some knowledge of that, I figured SEO might be a pretty good thing to have because it builds a continual platform instead of just something.
Yeah,
it's a residual. So what I've come up with so far, well, I didn't do it, analytics told me, is we're at 25% and 25% increase in organic searches from January 24th to the day compared to January 24th to the day of last year. So
that's awesome.
That's for the amount paid for a one-time shot to do that, I think that's a well worth thing. So I was averaging about 5,000 hits of organic searches per year. I did do an ad campaign several years ago, and I was able to get an extra 1,500 or so paid ad searches for the website. So now we're looking at half of, what is that, 1275 or so. I hate doing math in public, but yeah, we've got about a 25, or actually a little over a 25% increase in hits there. So that, in my opinion, is worth it. And I've told the people that told me not to do it. So I don't know. Maybe people wouldn't think that a 25% increase in direct or in organic searches would be worth that, but I think it is. Now I got a question for you. Is that something? Yeah. So my impression of what you all did was you went in and there are certain rules that search engines look for. If you're gonna, you want 15 characters here, or you want 42 sentences there. Is that something that you have to continually evaluate and update, or is that kind of a one-time after you build a website thing to do?
Yes and no. So the one-time audit is one of our most popular things because it gives you, I think I told you this when we first started, like the best bang for your buck, because we're going to do a bunch of cleanup on all those technical aspects and get them in order. SEO is exactly like what you said, where it's an ongoing thing, where like if we turned off the ads today, those leads are going to stop tomorrow. You're not going to get any more ads. Whereas the SEO that we did is going to continue. A lot of my clients do go on ongoing SEO plans where we do SEO for them month over month. We work on ranking higher for more keywords and expanding that, and really just building on what we already did. So the audit, most of what that does is just kind of improve the overall health of your site, and make sure that we're, have all of the pages are redirecting as they need to, and title tags and code and everything looks good. Whereas ongoing SEO is something that we can do, and that's where we might start like building content for your audit. That was a big thing that we did, is we expanded the content on the page. So if we want to start ranking for other keywords, we can start building content around that, and then backlinking for, banner flags or runners or whatever we would want to do. So that's something that we can look at for ongoing if you did want to look at adding SEO to part of that plan.
Okay, that's good. The on to the advertising part. That my goal was to go in to pay no more than I was increasing my net. A break even is a win, because every sale I make gets another sale, because our customer service is to that level where people say, I don't care. I mean, honestly, I think I could charge them anything I wanted at that point, because once I get them, that they don't want to go anywhere else, because I take care of them. So the if my goal was, like I said, was to break even, but what I discovered was, so we I think I told you about that, we lost a major client of ours. In fact, our largest ever client decided to get out of the business. So we didn't lose them because of who we are. We lost them because they quit. So I have to compare everything to that, and I did not realize that they were basically keeping us afloat from January through April. I had no idea that they were such a huge part of our sales. In fact, they were 66% of our net last year between January and April. So we were, so you get rid of them, which we did, and they finished up in November. So you get rid of them, and your April, or your first quarter, your January to April, your first 4 months looks significantly different, like a third of what you had before. Fortunately for me, I'm smart enough to go hire a marketing firm at the right time. So if we take that totally out of the picture, our current net to date, year to date, is up by 161%. So over 2.5 times what we did last year. And because of that, even with comparing us this year to last year, including that large client, we still are up by $3,000 for the 4 months. So as far as that tells me that for the next 8 months, I'm probably going to at least double my sale, if not, not 2.5 times. And if I do that, then I don't think I can handle the business. So I will have to work hard. I will be working while I'm sitting in my condo in Florida. Anyway, but so that's so far as I'm concerned, and like I told you before, I don't know that you want to tell the person that you're hiring to do marketing that they're doing such a great job that they're worth more than you're paying them. But I do. I'm, like I say, I'm not a good businessman. I'm just a upfront guy, and so you really have hooked me up, and you really helped our program out. And I am to the point where I'm going, if it goes the way I expect over the next 8 months, I'm going to be at a crossroads. I may have to expand with employees and things like that. So, which I have not wanted to do, but that's a good problem. I can always scale it back if I need to. It's easier to scale back than it is to move up. So,
yeah. Okay, great. So I think we kind of talked about all of our goals, what you did. I believe you had set one kind of traffic goal at the start of this year. What was that? Do you remember?
Oh, you mean, I wanted to triple the business by the time I retired from America.
Yeah.
And I am 5 years away. I think we're well in hand to do that. I had said I figured that if we could double our hits on our website, I could increase the business by 20%. And complete wag. No idea where I came up with the numbers, but that was my goal. So our current total hits, I'm trying to see. Oh, you know, I lied to you. Let me make sure I got this right. Organic, yeah. When I said we were up by 161%, I lied to you. Our net is up by 338%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Or it is 338%. So it's we have tripled our last 4 months. Our 4 months of 2022 and 4 months of 2023, we tripled the revenue stream from that point. The 161% was the number of hits we received on the website.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
so two different things completely. But yeah, so so we've gone up. You know, I look, well, but I'm not too terribly busy. I look every day and to see what, you know, certain days it's kind of fun, and certain days where we have a 10% increase over last year, or the same day last year, same day. I use the same day of the week, not the same date. And then some days it'll be 500%. But overall, being up by, you know, being 250% of what we did last year, that is more than meeting my goals. My goal was to double, and we're gonna beat that. So far, you know, who knows? I don't. It appears to me, it seems to me, as a logical person, it seems to me that would continue. That's a kind of a linear thing. It's not going to change. As the summer months get busier for us, we're still going to get that many services. That may not, it may not be the case because of the fact that schools are our main person, and a lot of our hits are not from schools now. That the extra hits we're getting are not from schools, so it may be the schools ramp up so fast that we don't hit that. But I would anticipate we'll finish the year with at least double the number of hits we had last year.
Awesome. So my final question for this is just, what would you say to someone who is, you know, kind of on the fence about working with me and haven't made that decision yet?
Well, first of all, so I have 4 kids. My third son is a marketing guy. He got a degree from Baylor in marketing. And he has been telling me since he was 15 that I was killing myself by not marketing, that I could quadruple my business and do whatever I wanted to do. And, you know, my thing to him was, you know, at my age where I am blending into a slower pace of life, I can only screw it up for him. I can only make it worse for myself if I do a huge investment in something, whether it be structures or equipment or marketing. I'm okay now. What if I invest a ton of money and I'm not okay? That would be a really dumb thing for me to do. So I was real resistant to do that. But like I say, it's been telling me for years. And I just felt like I had exhausted all of my capabilities to increase the size of the business. And so fortunately, I met you. I will tell you that one of my big reservations is that so many, you know, I would say most of the digital marketing companies out there they're third world located. They're you don't have a person to talk to. You don't have an individual. It's brought in. It may be brought in by a guy sitting in Portland, Maine, but it's all funneled to some other country. And well, that's why I put out a thing locally to say, hey, who does marketing? Because I wanted someone I could actually get a hold of and sit down with and talk to. So I would say that was a huge advantage. And what I liked was the fact that I can't stand to have meetings to plan meetings or plan meetings to plan marketing. I like just talking. You know me, I'm a plain talker. Yeah. I like talking plain, and I like that when I give you a hard, quick question, I get a hard, quick answer, and I like that. The second thing I'll say is I was a little bit surprised that I was able to, when I said, hey, I want to talk to somebody about marketing, about the actual ads of what we're doing, is that you just connected me direct to your specialist doing that. And I was able to get on a video call with him. So now I'm actually speaking directly to the guy who has direct knowledge of what words we're using and how we're using things like that. And that's huge, because I don't want somebody that is telling me what the party line says or what the script they're reading from says. I like to have. So I know that I can contact Josh when I want to change up some words or change up, you know, I want to push more ads to a certain location. I just send him an email and say, hey, this is what I want to try and do. And he answers back. So I like that. I like the fact that when I called and talked to him that he had direct knowledge of day-to-day working. So he's not just letting the ad sit there and hope I don't notice that we're not, monitoring, that he has actually monitored them.
Yeah.
I would certainly, I'm very pleased with what I got and would recommend you have it.
Awesome. Awesome. Sounds good. Well, thank you. Okay. So for that, I'm just kind of looking, I know you and Josh had kind of talked about the second video, and can you tell me a little bit more about like what he wanted included in this? I sent him a text, but he hasn't responded.
Okay, so here's what happened,
Yeah.
I don't know that it's going to come off. What we should have done is recorded it when it happened.
Yeah.
I happened to be a little spontaneous, and I wasn't sure whether I should drink a bunch of coffee before this or not. Because I got to get up on the step, and if it's it's like a party. You can plan this awesome party, but sometimes parties become awesome when you don't plan them, and sometimes they're flops when you plan an awesome party. So, we just got he was kind of trying to. I wanted him to have a feel for what I wanted him to sell. It's so hard for you to say, oh, so you sell flags. Well, great. Well, but I have the story from day one. I got into this because I was actually in need of flags, and so I have the story as a consumer and how what it resulted in the place we were living. So I kind of was explaining to him that I wanted to, if I could get a superintendent in a room, just one-on-one for a few minutes, everyone I would buy flags folks, because I know how to make. It's back to what I said with the marketing thing. I guarantee you that anybody that wants to use our product, if they listen to what I say, it will not only not cost them a dime, but it will increase their booster funds or whatever they're using, in addition to increasing the quality of life for their students, their faculty, the whole school. Because, it's just like putting on, I remember I used to wash my car and all of a sudden it ran better. Well, it didn't run better. I just was more excited to drive it. A new set of tires, your car drives better. Yeah, maybe a little bit because of the you have some kind of wobbling, but when you put on get a new set of clothes, you feel so much better about yourself. It's working out, same thing. You feel better about your whole outlook on life is different. Well, that's the same thing that we do with our flags. So I was kind of trying to relay that to him, and he said, you really need to record that. So here we go. I don't know if I can recreate it or not, but I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
You may need to do some heavy editing.
No, it'll be good. I think you talk very well, and you can tell you're passionate about what you do. So I guess kind of why, like, give me an example or a run through, or tell me how you got into this business. Like, what's the story? How'd you get started?
Okay. You ready to record?
Yeah, it's still recording, so I'll chop it up later.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So the story of how I got into the business is long and arduous. So I'll give you a Reader's Digest version. I missed a Booster Club meeting back in 2007. I got hired as the Booster Club president, or elected as the Booster Club president, because that's what happens when someone misses a the next day they fired the head coach. Our town had the football team had won, I think, 3 games in 2 years. We had a 6,000 person stadium. We had roughly 1,000 people on a Friday night for a game. It was just kind of dismal. And this is a team that it was out in Granbury, Texas, that had been state champions in 1966. And 1966 was back when I was a young child, and these people were now the grandparents of the students that were playing, and they all live in the same town, so they remembered all of that. And anyway, so a coach that doesn't win in that town was not welcome. So they fired that coach. So I was literally left holding the bag. And they hired a new coach. He came in and he said, I've never been a head coach. I said, I've never been a Booster Club president. So we worked. He said, I just need more people in my stands. And we couldn't. I got my group of parents together, a small group, and we tried to brainstorm how can we let people know that there's a game, because I think people would go small town Texas, they're going to go to a football game if they even realize there's what's going on. So we finally decided that flags would be a good idea. Drape 100 flags up and down Main Street every Friday to let people know there's a game in town. We did that. We couldn't afford to find some to buy the flags that we wanted. They were too expensive to get custom-made flags. So since we were the Pirates, the Granbury Pirates, we got some skull and crossbones flags and put 100 of those up in town. That actually made national news. You can Google it. I'm on 14,000 websites across the country talking about some lady thought that the skull and crossbones flags were actually satanic images, which they weren't. We did it. Yeah, you need to Google it and read the whole article. But anyway, so it made national news. I got interviews by all the local TV and radio celebrities. Got mail from all over the country, and I that started the avenue of people trying to help me get some custom made flags done, and we did. And so it was hard for me to get anybody to jump in with me as far as the Booster Club goes. They were not willing to spend the money. And so I said, that's fine. I'll just buy 1,500 flags, put them on my credit card, and we'll pay me back first, and then whatever else we make on them, we'll give to the Booster Club. We sold all 1,500 flags in 30 days, doubled the money.
Wow.
Flags, the town of 3,000 at 1,500 flags flying, and you could not drive to the stadium without passing 200 flags, no matter what route you took. And it was quite daunting for the other schools. And I had worked with this group to get the flags made, and it was quite a process. I mean, there's a lot to know. You've got to know how to do the vectored art. You need to know how to do the Pantone numbers. You need to know exactly what type of fabric and things you want to do. So it took me 8 months to get those flags made, working through another company. And once we did that, and it worked so well, the other schools in the area, the Metroplex, started calling and asking me, how could they do what you're doing? You know, I told them, you really can't get them. It was too hard of a process, too long of a process. And after the third call in 24 hours, I called them all back and said, hey, let me run some numbers and figure this out for you. So I did. And I launched the company and started making it for the schools. And I figured it would be a small, just helping people out, onesies, twosies, and it just grew. And I don't know why it grows, other than the fact that when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. So when you order flags and you need them by a certain date, and I tell you they'll be there, they will be there. You don't need to track the order or worry about anything. And you know, we do have, just like any other company, we have hiccups with shipping or whatever once in a while. I add that into my figures normally, and I would say once a quarter we miss a deadline, and it just doesn't happen out of 100, 200 orders, you'll miss one deadline. And that those things happen. And when we do, we take care of the people for having it happen. But so what I discovered, and I'm going to go through the whole thing. You can edit as much as you want out of it. I'm going to give you all the information you need. We can take from, cut from there. But what I discovered was, after the first couple of weeks of flying these flags, we had full stadium, completely full stadium, 6,000 seats. And at the end of the first year, our ticket sales had gone up so high that they were making tremendous amounts of money just for the school on the ticket sales. The second year, we actually had to put ropes in the end zone to hold overflow people. So we were putting 7,000 people in the stadium. If you look at a ticket, the standard ticket price back then, we're talking about in 2007, 2008, the ticket price of $6 for a student or for anybody, $6 to get in. So we went from $6,000 worth of ticket sales on a Friday night to $7,006. I hate to do the math in public. That's $42,000 times 5 home games. It's close to $250,000 in extra ticket sales we did. And it's not 100% the flags. The team did start doing better. But it is I think the team also did better because of the excitement for the program. It goes hand in hand. It all stirs up. So we had every car dealership in town had 25, 30 flags flying in front of them. It got to the point where businesses, if we would run out of the flags, businesses would get angry because they looked bad not having flags, and their competitors did. So it was a huge deal. We were able to take beside that money I just talked about, the $200,000 a year extra in ticket sales, went strictly to the school district. On top of that, we made money selling the flags. And with that money and the extra interest in the program, which we got from sponsorships and things like that, we were able to give out 25 scholarships for college for graduating seniors from the football team. So it wasn't just changing the appearance of the stadium. It was changing really the landscape of the town and the interest in the program. It got more kids involved. I think we had somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 kids come out for football the first year that we did that. The second year we had 250. Just that much interest in the program. And so you're giving kids scholarships for football or for college to go to college. You're getting more kids off of video games or drugs or whatever else they're doing and bringing them into the football program where they can actually be in with the community. I mean, it is a endless. I can tie it all in, and I know there could be doubters say, well, it wasn't caused by the flag. I was there. I know it was. There's no question in my mind. So I can tell you that if I could sit down with a superintendent and say, listen, I know you don't trust me because you don't know anything about it. You'll take these 100 flags, you buy 100 flags from us. I guarantee you can double your money by selling. Not only that, the money that you make is a tiny bit of what you're actually getting. The benefit you're getting is the pride your kids will see in the school, the increased activities or increased participation in the activity programs, because the excitement is just contagious. So I typically will tell a student, my first question is, how many kids do you graduate a year? I multiply that by 4. That's the number of flags I think the school should purchase, because that every kid from kindergartner all the way up through a senior high school is going to want one on their bedroom window or a bedroom wall. And so if you get one for every kid that's in high school, that quantity, you're going to easily sell out if you put the price point at double what you paid for. And of course, the more you buy, the cheaper the price point. So that's my story on the Spirit flags. There's some other products we have. I was going to count up before this today. I was going to count up how many products we have. I can't remember how it is. We have probably 20 or so, maybe 25 on our website, but we actually have probably 40 or 50, because a lot of them are just one-offs where somebody says, hey, can you do this? And I do. Mm-hmm. And then it doesn't, they like it, but it doesn't really, and something that really sells, so we don't clutter the website with it. But we have a ton of different products. There's a bunch that we do because people demand them, that I personally try and steer people other directions. Like, for instance, our stadium flags, I would much prefer to sell them the Spirit flags over stadium flags. But some coaches say, I don't want to mess with that. I want 10 flags. That's all I want. And we have to go down to the stadium flag at that point. So another product that I think is fabulous, that you can't replace the benefit you get with any other product, is the what we call the stadium circuit, or the stadium, some call them crowd flags. We call them bleacher banners as well. And they're the large, anywhere from a 10 by 12 up to the largest thing we've done is for Chelsea soccer. That's 100 by 200. That is you put it over the stadium, put people underneath it, and it immediately gets your crowd involved in the games. And it just is, it elevates it to another level. So the crowd drives the games drive the crowd, and it all drives Spirit for the programs. That's probably all of it in a nutshell. Now, I go on with other products, but that's my main. What I would like to do is I would like to see every single school in America at least purchasing 100 Spirit flags and giving it a shot. Some say I have this program I put out, and I tell a superintendent, if the superintendent will sign off on it, I will give him 100 custom flags, and I will give him 90 days to sell it. And anyone he doesn't want after that date, I pay to have him shipped back, and then he just pays me the amount for the quantity he used. And all the times I've done that, I've had one person send it back, and that guy confessed to me he never opened the box. So that's all. Every single time I do that, and I think it's so. That is the main thrust of our company, is to getting that. It just is to see the kids. I used to run a booster club trailer. And we had a big vending trailer, and we had all the products in there, and we had the flags. And I would have a kid come up and he'd buy one of those 3x5 flags. And when I say 3x5 flag to you, you go, okay, it's fine. I hand it to you, you open it up. 3x5 flag is a huge flag. I mean, you can't as an adult stretch your arms out and hold that flag tight. It's too big for that. Yeah. And these kids just go crazy. They use them as capes. They run around with them, and it's a big bang for the buck. You get a lot of visual return for the small amount of money.
I like it. I think that's good.
Okay. Well, good. Edit that how you want. If you want to do some more, I can certainly try, that's just to let you know, that's not my best performance, but it'll probably do, I guess.
We can do
you
we can do some more. I have the free Zoom, so we have to like close out and get back in, and then we can do maybe talk about some of the specifics, some of the more specific products that you want to sell.
Okay.
So I guess just close out, and then I think we can just get back in, and I think that'll work.
Okay.
All right. See you in a sec.
All right.